Welcome to Entwined, the Constellation Chronicles, the podcast where we dive deep into the intricate web of family constellations and the profound stories that shape our lives. I'm your host, Alexis Gonzalez. I'm an author, speaker, and family constellations facilitator. In each episode, we'll be speaking with facilitators and thought leaders who explore the dynamic relationships that connect us all. Together, we'll uncover the hidden patterns, transformative experiences, and rich insights that family constellations reveals. Thank you for joining us on this journey as we explore the entwined stories of our past, the present moments we share, and the futures we're creating together. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're interested in learning more about family constellations, then you'll love my free ebook, Interwoven Paths. You can find this ebook on my website at www.vibratecreate.com, or you can also visit the link in the description below. In today's episode, we'll be speaking with Yael Eini, who does constellations in Israel and also through Zoom. Yael is the founder of the Karmic Constellation Method, a unique approach she has been sharing with students around the world since 2019. With over 20 years of experience, she combines a degree in psychology and management and a master's in family counseling to create a holistic healing experience. From managers to parents, Yael has worked with a wide range of people, helping them transform their lives through her workshops and talks. Yael has written 2 books, Where Does God Live? And Bringing Healing into Your Life, Tools for Working with the Akashic Records, and she's currently releasing her next book, Karma Healing, Unblock Your Life on the Soul Level. Today, we'll dive into her insights, learn about her book that has yet to be released, and we'll discover how the Karmic Constellation Method can lead to personal and collective well-being. Let's jump in and learn more from Yael Eini. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into Entwined, the Constellation Chronicles. My name is Alexis Gonzalez, and today we have a very special guest facilitator whose name is Yael Eini. And she is a facilitator who actually practices in Israel. So she's joining us late at night while it's midday for me. So thank you for joining us, Yael.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me in your podcast.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I think it'll be really beautiful. So before we begin, I would like to pass it over to you because I always have the person who I'm speaking with kind of introduce themselves and their work because they can share it the best way. So when you're ready, if you can share maybe what got you into constellations or what is your specialty, because I know you have a specific kind of route that you've taken with constellations. So when you're
Yes.
ready, yeah.
I'll share what brought me to Constellation and then, the path that I have developed because I think they are connected to each other.
Mhm.
I'm a therapist for more than 20 years. And being a therapist and also being a mom for 3, I saw all those transgenerational trauma or behaviors go with my clients. So I knew how to address them by speaking about it. I also do energetic work, so I knew how to do it that way, but I felt that it doesn't go directly as I want to. Like I could see that, but not really work on that. And I was puzzled by it and really fascinated. I worked a lot with parents. And then, so when I was pregnant with my youngest children, I was introduced to family constellation, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. But then I delivered my child. You don't have any time to do anything but the necessary stuff. So I put studies away. And I think 3 or 4 years later, I got this email saying, oh, I'm opening family constellation training. And I was like, I'm in. And the funniest thing, so my teacher was Ishai Gaster. the funny thing is that I told Ishai, look, I have so many tools within me. I don't really need another tool. I just want to understand how you solve transgenerational trauma. So he said, okay, come to one module and then decide. You don't have to like book yourself by for the whole training. So this is what I did. You know, the rest is history. I become a teacher in Ishai's school. Constellation is one of my biggest love. I work with it daily. I will say family and karmic. I work with both of them. And what happened is, I think 2 or 3 years after I was after graduate studying, I wanted to start investigate my own, like all kinds of way that Ishai didn't taught. And, you know, there was Zoom, but not like all the training or online and on Zoom. So I was like establishing my own platform for study what no one's taught me. I called it the Systemic Lab. I actually now changed the name, but it was a systemic lab until 2 months ago. And start practicing all kinds of stuff. I started with traditional constellation, like Bert Hellinger has this video that he put the Turkish and the Armenians, one like look at each other in silent session, one of the profoundest session I ever saw. And it was like, oh, I want to try, can I do silent constellation? Because that was a silent constellation. I can, and everyone can. So it started very traditional constellation, but then I was like, okay, I come from the spiritual realm, like I'm an energetic healer. I wonder, can I work with all kinds of spiritual elements? Let's say the Akashic records, let's say soul contracts, soul lessons. And after 2 years of exploring, someone came to me and said, Yael, can you teach that? And I was like, teach what? I don't have anything to teach. And she was like, no, we just work on something. I want to learn how to do that. And I looked at everything I knew and then I said, oh, I have a method. I have a complete different method with representational work that work on karma. So, and I called it karmic constellation.
So when you say that you use soul contracts, you're saying you use soul contracts as a representative, or what do you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So karmic constellation is quite different actually from family constellation, because most of the principles we have in family constellation don't apply. You don't have order of love. You don't have balance between give and take. You don't have belonging, because family constellation is about me and my lineage, right? My parents, my grandparents, etc. And karmic constellation is almost like me and myself. Me in past life. So me in past life, there is no hierarchy. There is no balance between give and take because it's me and me. So all those principles, they don't apply, but the systemic approach does. Representational work is what I'm doing, and phenomenological is what helps me do the session.
Mhm. So you just kind of stumbled into it in a different way, it kind of sounds like. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
something
cool.
like that. I was just playing and suddenly I found out I have a method.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I love this conversation because that's why I wanted to focus in on just facilitators, because I know that we all do it in many different ways, or we bring something new to the table. And like you said, your whole background of being a therapist and your interactions you had with people and seeing their backgrounds really informed, I'm sure, what you do now. For me,
Yeah.
my latest thing I've kind of stumbled into is pet constellation. So I feel like that's going to be one of my big things is working with pets because that's been my whole life is like taking care of animals and work like that's where I'm at right now. I'm taking care of someone else's dog. But I recently came across my own pet who I felt this soul connection with and felt like she was meant to be in my life. And she really
Mhm.
shook everything up where it was like, now I can't do as many house sittings. And so now I'm working in constellations with pets. So that's going to be my thing, I think, for a little while. So yeah, we all have our own path, our own way that our soul calls us, how we're meant to help others or shift people's lives. So I love that you
Yes.
found your own way. Yeah.
Yes. I love what you're saying. I have two things to say about that. One is that whenever I do constellation online, then I have all those clients or representative like you know, they have their animals, and then their animal comes and they really participate, especially cats, in the field. Like I have this, she was also my student. She came a lot to represent, and you can, like, you know, one day her cat just moved and really like she couldn't see the screen. And I couldn't see her. I could see only the cat. So it's like they speak in a constellation.
Mhm.
So whenever there is a cat, I know it's like, and cats are very spiritual.
Yeah, I have a
So,
story about a cat actually that kind of led me to wanting to do constellations with pets. It was actually a cat I was taking care of, and it just kind of walked up to me and put its paw on me. And I just had this awareness, like I heard clairaudiently, like the cat sent me a message and said,
mhm.
you should do your work with animals too, like not just people. And so
Wow.
that really opened the door. And that was like a year or two ago. And so I'm so attached to taking care of pets and the families I work with. But now that I have my own pet, it kind of really pushed me into, working with animals in a different way. But for sure, that cat, she even like showed me a picture in my mind, was like, this is what you should be doing. And I think it's a beautiful introduction because this work is so deep. And sometimes it's easier to jump in when it's about your pets and then see kind of what is the messages they want to give to us or what is the possibility of a constellation for our pets? And then we can see what the possibilities are for ourselves. So that's why I thought it was such a
Wow.
beautiful introduction for people to learn about constellations in a new, more kind of like lighthearted way. And then also tuning into psychic development as well and your intuition, how you can tune in with your pets. So I think it's going to be a
Yeah.
beautiful little adventure. Just started. I just got my dog like 2 months ago. So
Wow.
yeah.
So I have a student that asked me, you know, what can you tell me about pets and souls and connection? And I said, ooh, that's a great question. I have no idea. I know different channelers say different things. So I think my June lab is gonna be about that. So because I don't have pets, but it's a really good question because like you, there are so many people that feel the soul connection.
Mhm.
So it's really interesting to see, yeah, like, you know, I don't know if there are soul contract or something like that, but it can be really interesting to put representation to things like that and see what happens.
Yeah, and since I've been doing it for 10 years, like watching people with their pets and hearing stories about how they met their pets and, things like that, it's really magical and beautiful because I can see the connections between the healing they bring to their people or the messages they tell me about their parents. Like I've had one that told me clairaudiently was like, tell my mom to stop worrying. She worries too much about me. So, and they're very simple. It's very like the messages mostly I get is like I'm hungry, I need some water, I
Wow.
want to go outside for a walk. Very simple, or like wanting me to feel better. I noticed that with my dog. Like she comes up when she knows something is up and it's like, hey, gives me a kiss and it's like, it's okay. So they offer a lot of healing. So I'm excited to start that.
Yes.
And I think for sure
Yes.
that's probably something really cool you could explore with people is yeah, the soul contracts or our connections to why those friends come into our lives at that time. Because I've noticed that in my life too, when I really needed a friend who was unconditional when I was going through so much chaos in my life. He was really, his name was Apollo. He was a black lab. He was really kind of the pillar to help me move through it. And yeah, he was such a beautiful friend to have in all of that hardship. So for sure, that's probably what I'm going to do
Yeah.
for a majority of my work. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. And we are in times that family constellation is don't know if agile is the right word, but yeah, we can all find ourselves in it in the way actually, yes, that suits us, um, and facilitate also in a way that suits us,
Hmm.
which I
Yes.
think is very important to bring our facilitation way to the field.
Right. Because you bring your own energy, your own essence into it. And yeah, doing something you love. So I would love to hear some stories about how you have found this way, but why do you love working in this way so much? So maybe if you have an example of somebody that you can share about, maybe a way that it shifted their life. Yeah.
I always have example. I will say that I have a book
Yeah.
with lots of examples. Yeah, it's on Amazon and all the bookstores.
If you want
But
to share the name of it before we go forward, if with everybody, is
yeah,
it the
karma healing. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
healing unlock your life on the soul level? And is it available in multiple languages? Because you speak, is it Hebrew or what is?
No, it's English.
Well, I mean,
This one is in English,
what is the language in Israel?
Hebrew.
Yeah. So is
Yeah,
it translated?
yeah. The purple here is in Hebrew.
Okay. And
And
the
yeah,
same.
I translate it. And in April 8th, 2025, it's going to be released in English worldwide.
Oh, awesome. So it hasn't even been released fully in English?
Yes.
Oh, it
No.
has.
No. In April 25. It's now on pre-sale on Amazon and all the bookstores.
Oh, how awesome. Do you want to share, since it's not released and it's on pre-order, do you want to share a little bit about what people will get from the book?
Yes, I'd love to. And I'll say that um, you asked me how I get in to do this work. Actually, everything is in the book. So I'll share the story, and it's in the book also. When when I started my therapeutic clinic, I actually came from, so I have a BA in psychologist and management, which is not the same in the state. You can't do anything with a BA in psychologist. And then I had this crisis regarding this path of me I wanted to be an organizational psychologist. So I have this crisis regarding psychologist, organization psychologist. I found out that it's not what I want to do.
Mm.
Um, so I went into 2 years of not knowing what I want to do when I'll be a grown up. And then I met an energetic healer, and working with her actually really changed my life. Really, I could see shift in behaviors that happened to me while working with her. And that brought me to understand that my path is energetic work. So I want to be a therapist. And I start studying and reading about the soul realm. And there were so many things that I read that really resonate with me. And yet I felt that the way I'm working with it doesn't give me the result I want. Like I want to work with the Akashic Records, with the Cosmic Library. So I know how to work with it with meditation, but it doesn't do any shift in my life. I got lots of insight, but no shift. And actually, the Akashic Records was my motivation when I did the lab. Can I work with the Akashic Records? And can I shift the energy in the Akashic Records that it will actually shift my life? Not only gain insight, insight is great, but as family constellation facilitator, I always say, even if you won't understand the session, you'll go out with no insight. I don't care, because your life will change. So someone can have lots of insight, but not changing their life. And some can go out of a family constellation session, have zero insights, and their life has been changed. And I bet you see the also as facilitator.
Mhm. Yeah, when I was first learning, my teacher, I was asking so many questions because that's I think maybe my coping mechanism. I want to like pick everything apart and understand everything. And yeah, like even during the constellation, I was asking like, well, what does that mean? Or like really trying to learn. And she was telling me like it doesn't matter if you consciously know, subconsciously so much is going on. This is energetic work. So do your best to be in your body and present for whatever is going on, whatever the emotion is, rather than picking it apart
Yeah,
with your brain. So I had to do a lot of that work in my trainings is don't try to pick it apart. But yeah, a lot of shifts
exactly.
happen even if you're not consciously aware of what's happening. Yeah.
Exactly. I did today, before we met, I did a webinar about undo vow from past life. And there was someone there that this work is new for her, not the karmic, the constellation. And she was like, I felt a lot. I felt pain and chill in my body. And when I put my hand on the vow and on past life me, got lots of emotions, but I don't know what the vow was about. And I was like, the story is not important. Because in the end, in the end of the exercise, I felt calm. So even if you don't know the story, there was a movement in the emotions and sensations, and that movement itself, it's what do the shift in our life. So yeah, it's many times it's not really about the story. The story helps us do the transition, but we can work without it. And you ask for stories, so when I start exploring that, we spoke about vows. There was someone in my class in the lab and she said, okay, I am looking for a steady relationship. All the men that I'm dating, they are not staying.
Mm.
And I have been told that this is my karma. And I was like, I don't believe in that. So we brought representation to the Akashic Records and to relationship, and we were stuck. Nothing moved, nothing shift. And then I had this idea, maybe we'll bring vow. We brought vow. Suddenly everything moved in the field. We found out the story. We released the past life vow. 6 months later, I think I saw a year later, but she said 6 months after I met someone, I'm with him. I think she's still with him, and it's like 7 years ago. So yeah, when you move things like that, things happened in your life. Like you shift from not being in relationship to being relationship, struggling with money and having money.
When you
Yeah,
say
I have this.
vow,
Yeah.
when you say vow, you mean this is a promise they made in a past life? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Would she be okay if you share what the vow was like? Or was it just a
Yeah,
feeling?
yeah. It's also written in the book. So many of the vows we are making are we are making within us. It's not like I promise you. Vow is I promise to myself something.
Mhm.
And her vow was to worship God and not anything else. Like it was from 3,000 years ago. We couldn't place it on a specific religious, and it's not really matter. It's like we could see that she was like very ancient, and she really dedicated herself to God. And this vow to dedicate myself to God, you cannot be married, doesn't work out together. So when releasing this vow, now she can marry or find someone to live with him for a long time.
Oh, wow. How cool. I'm happy I
Yeah.
got to hear those specifics. That's interesting. How did you come to understanding that vow could help open something up? Because I would have never thought of something like that, right?
You know what? It's so funny. I'm not coming from a religious background. It's vows are not in my culture that I was raised. So it's a great question. Um, in her session, it's like I brought the Akashic records, I brought the spiritual guides, I brought God, like I brought all the heavy stuff. Nothing moved. And I was like, how come you did? What have you done that is so heavy that even God can't help you?
Mm.
And I don't know, sometimes the field talks to you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I was like, a vow. Because I do know about vow. It's not something I was raised on, but I do know vows. So we brought a vow or the vow she made. You just many times in constellation, you have this assumption. You don't know if it will work or not, and you just bring it to the field and you see if the field react to that or not. And we brought a vow and the field react to that, everything shifted.
Mhm.
And then I did a lab about vows because I wanted to learn more because that was a miracle for me either. Like, okay. And since then, I found out that vows are so, when we work on karma, vows may be in lots of our sessions.
Beautiful. I just very recently, so I spoke at somewhere called the Conscious Life Expo on February 7th. Today's March 10th. And so it was just about a month ago. That was my first experience doing past life regressions. So they have like a bunch
Mm,
of teachers that teach at this expo. And so I didn't have a booth this time because I wanted to explore other classes as well. And I did two past life regression ones, and it was very powerful. They kind of just walked us through like a meditation to go inwards and kind of see our lives. And I thought it was
yeah,
very, very cool, very lucid almost, the kind of visions that I was seeing. It's pretty cool. So do
yes.
you do, mm, go
Think
ahead.
about that, but representing.
Mm-hmm.
No meditation, no like deep state, becoming past life you and see everything that happens with open eyes.
Yeah. This brings up a question for me that my teacher has explained. So timelines. Do you want to describe a little bit? The way that she says is like when we step into constellations, it's almost like there is no time. And so we're stepping into maybe a moment in time. Maybe it was 3 generations ago. And that's where the issue started that's affecting our life currently. So do you want to talk a little bit about your beliefs about that?
I love this, the way she said. Dan van Kampout says that when you talk into a constellation, it's like entering a dream state or a dream time. Again, so like there is no really time. Physics quantum will say the same actually. Um, and in past life, so we say past life, but actually in the soul realm, everything is present. There is no past or future. So there is no past life,
Mm-hmm.
really. But we have experienced other lifetimes. Yes. So we do have, and we are linear as humans. So we do have past life. And when you enter your past life, I don't really care if you are in 1852 before Christ or after Christ. It's like you're a human being that struggle with relationship. So this is what we're working on. So I like what she's saying about the timeline because she actually said there is no really timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, I believe the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. And so this is a story that's inside of the book.
Yes.
So what is the overall, I guess, purpose for why you wrote the book? Or what do you want people to get from the book?
So the book is about the soul journey, like our connection with the soul, for instance, and the meaning we have soul lesson and soul contract or soul agreement, and vows and curses, how they affect us, and also soul fragments, how they affect us, and how can we restore soul fragments. So it's like it's a perspective of the soul realm and how we can work with it. And also, I do give a little bit of exercise in some of the chapters so everyone can do their own work.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a combination of my 20 years of expertise with karmic constellation as the stories, because like you did in the regression therapy, for me, the regression therapy is karmic constellation. This is how I addressed past life. And this is how I like to address past life.
I would imagine that this applies to things like illnesses as well, that we carry from past lives. Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
seen any improvements in people in that area from your work?
Oh, so in general, I'm less working on illnesses, family or karmic. Less my experts. Like my expert is relationship more
Mhm.
and money. Both things that I really like working on. But I can tell you, I can bring a really interesting story I had on someone that has not Alzheimer. Mm, wait, now I forgot the word in Hebrew even. Um, when you start shaking, um,
Parkinson's?
yeah,
Yeah.
Parkinson.
Mhm.
So a young man, 47, something like that. It's young for Parkinson. He came to me to three constellations. One we did on his mom lineage, one on his dad, and the third, I don't remember if we were specific or we did on the Parkinson, but we brought the Parkinson, we brought him, and there was like nothing moved in the field. And we had representation, it wasn't one-on-one. And then I said, you know what? Let's look at it from the soul realm. So I set up the representation again. Then we had him, the soul, and Parkinson. And the Parkinson said, I don't belong here. It's like, I'm not your soul lesson. I'm not here. So I don't remember why, but I brought his dad's soul. And then we find out that he and his dad had a lot of like shared karma. They have been together for many lifetimes. And they like wrote it in victim perpetrator situation. One life, the dad is the perpetrator, the son is the victim, and one life, the son is a perpetrator, the dad is victim, like an endless cycle. And in this lifetime, in a way, the dad is the perpetrator
Mhm.
and the son is the victim. And part of the victim is taking on my dad's problem. And one of the thing is taking on my dad's sickness.
So his father had the
And
same thing.
so the father, no, the father is hypochondriac.
Okay.
So he always sees doctors. And then this son of him, he's against doctors. And suddenly he have this illness that he have to be with doctors all the time. It's like as if it's the opposite of the dad, but and the dad is healthy. But it's like, it's like manifesting the dad's fear to my own sickness.
Hmm.
I so want to help you, dad, even if it cost me my life. So I want you to be healthy. I will take the disease on me. And that's what the soul showed us, that it's not supposed to be the kid, but the kid took it. And in the end of the session, the Parkinson's withdraw and said, I'm still in the field, but because I want to see how it develops, but you don't really need me. I have no idea what happened to this person because many times I take one session and they don't come to me to tell me what happened.
Mhm.
But what was interesting is to see how even in the soul realm, you can see whether the illness is yours or not, and what happened in the here and now.
Yeah.
How
And
kids take their parents' suffering and manifest it as a disease.
right. And I share with people, just because you did a constellation on this and this came up, it's almost like it's making you conscious and aware of where it comes from. And then from that point on, you have a choice. So it is an
Exactly.
opening to allow the choice for you to want to keep this thing for that love that you have, or to let it go and live your life freely. So it's not like it will fix everything. It's you're the part that needs to be open to shifting it, right?
Yeah. And remember that we are the one. I just had a conversation today with the client. She said, nothing happened after the session. It has been a month. And I was like, my sister is not changing. And I was like, it's about you to change, not she will not change. And then she tells me, you know what? I got sick from my sister. I start taking out of my home all kinds of gifts that she gave me, crystals and books. And I have so many from her. I'm just throwing them away. And I say, okay, see, this is what changed. You are slowly taking your sister out of your life. And she's a 70, I think her age is something like 74, 77. It's not an easy age to start doing changes in your life. So her sister will not change. Her sister is 84, will not change, but yeah, it's up to her to change. And sometimes we are so caught in our own patterns and victimhood that it's hard to let go.
Or our loyalties to our family and keeping the same
Yeah,
patterns that have been for generations. Yeah. Yeah, I had that experience of like wanting somebody to change. And then my teachers like telling me like, no, we do this work for you. They're not here to uh willingly say they want their change as well. So this is for you. And I have noticed big differences in how I approach them or see them, much more compassion and like openness to you are the way you are and I don't need you to change kind of thing. And I love that I had a teacher like that because it taught me so much self-empowerment of like you don't need the world to change, but you can change inside. And I think
yeah,
that's what makes a really good teacher. Yeah.
yeah. And in a way, I think it's the way I see it, it's the essence of constellation is about releasing all the emotions we have within us, but understanding that our parents will not change.
Hmm.
And they will not give us what we need from them. And it's up to us to make the change within us and to accept them, and that nothing will change with our parents. And when we do that, sometimes they do change. But what's important is that we we are okay with them. We accept them, and it's less burden on us.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny you brought up parents because I was talking about my mom. Yeah,
Yeah,
so no, for sure that was the thing that I really wanted to shift. And yeah, it was the little girl inside that's like, I want to be loved this way. And
yeah,
really what Constellations taught me was like the gift of life and how big that is, because I wouldn't be here without you. So really loving that part and seeing that part as me. And
yeah,
yeah, it's been very, very healing for me personally. And yeah, turning towards my little girl inside and giving her what she wanted versus having somebody else give it to her. So yeah, it's been very empowering to work in that way. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So how about anything else you'd like to share about the book?
Oh,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. Do you have any question about it?
Well, I
It's
guess it doesn't
yeah.
really have to be about your book, but also just constellations in itself. So something specific you'd love to kind of talk about in the specific way that you do it.
Um, so what I really like in Constellation, I'm a little bit like you, so I come from the I know. And also as a channeler, you see, you have the answers. And one of my, I think, growth path was to let go of the I know. And for me, what I really like in Constellation, and it's hard, is to accept the I have no idea. It's like, okay. And sometimes in a session, I'm like, why am I doing a constellation? It's like, I have no idea where to go. And suddenly everything become clear to you, and the field works. But it's like accepting that you don't know and allowing the field to guide us. That is for me, this is why I so in love in constellation, both family and karmic, because we don't know. Mainly, we don't know, but we are in line with the field, and we are letting the field guide us, which is very different than intuition or spiritual guidance, because I know both. I have this and I have this. It's not the same. And I do want to say that karmic constellation in that way is harder than family constellation, because in family constellation, we do have the story, right? I know what happened to my mom, to my grandparents, like at least one or two generation. I do have the linear story.
Mhm.
And in karmic constellation, we have nothing. We have no story to based on, no anchors. That means relying on the field is even bigger.
Yeah, beautifully said. As you were speaking, I had a question come up. So I'm wondering if you do anything specifically for yourself to prepare as you're about to facilitate, to put yourself in that place of receiving from the field.
Yeah, actually, no.
No.
No, no. Um, yeah, I put the chairs in a different way because it's not like a therapy one-on-one session. But the felts are, I work a lot with felts. Yeah, in Israel, the way we work is it's not with, let's say, pillows or anything. We work with felts like that. So they are small. They are like table felts, but I work with big one.
Do you want to
They're
share?
always outside. Hmm?
Do you want to share with people? Because this is also for people who maybe don't know anything about constellations. I've seen these, and can you describe why you use those and what they kind of signify? Because it represents something, right?
Um, yes, so first, these represent masculine energy, and the circle represent feminine energy. And I think one of the reasons we work with them is, you cannot stand on a pillow.
Mm.
Or if you have a doll, you cannot stand on her. But on this, you can either put your full hand, or if it's on the floor, you can stand on it. And I love it. One of my teachers said it's like a portal. Once you place your hand or stand on it, you start representing. It's like this portal to become one with the field and have the information about how it is to be not you, to be someone else, something else, another person, another place. So the felt are ways to mark the floor also and show us relationship also, because let's say it's only one-on-one and we don't have people. So now I know they are speaking to each other, but now we'll do it. It's like Pac-Man, the sense is different. So this brings like a cold shoulder to this one. So just by placing them, I can learn about the relationship between, let's say this is money. So now money and me are speaking, and now I'm chasing money, and now I'm not looking at money, and money is not looking at me. So when I work with felts, I can see a lot about relationship just by the way you place them on the floor. Or there is also an app, so the way you place them on the app. It tells me a lot. And it also tells you, because when you see what you put, it's like suddenly you realize, because when you place them, you're unconscious. Even if you are like 20 years facilitating, when you place them, you are unconscious. I had so many times that I placed and I was like, oh shit, it's the same like my father. And it's like, oh, why did I choose this color or this shape? It's like my mom. And I like, you do it and then you realize the connections. So felt is one way that you can represent all kinds of things. I also work with objects and, with sticky notes. But yeah, they're always outside. The candle is always lightning. So yeah, I don't do any preparation
Yeah. Well,
before.
yeah, I think that is a good way to answer that. I don't really either. My teacher said it's good to be able to tune in whenever it's needed and not need to be prepared for it. So, but she did teach me, and I talked about this in a past episode, something called Hakalau, that she learned from an NLP class. And it's like you look up in a certain direction or certain yeah, I guess direction, and it causes your brain to tune into a different state of awareness. And so it brings you back into your body. And I notice it unconsciously in myself, like when I'm wanting to tune into my spirit guides or get some information, I'll be going like this, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing it right now, taking in the information. So if you ever see me doing that, that's what I'm doing. I'm asking for guidance. But
Mm.
yeah, there are different ways. Even just something that tiny, it's very powerful for me and the way that I receive. And I didn't have to do like a 20-minute meditation. Although sometimes I notice when I go teach, because I've taught in different states, when I do that, usually I will prepare the space. So I'll come in with some music and maybe sit for 10 minutes to kind of quiet myself, because it has more to do with me and when I'm bringing to the space, and I want to be prepared. So I do. I do like a tiny little thing to kind of clear the space. Because especially because
When
I'm in stores or sometimes in store environments where there's stuff going on the outside. And so I'm wanting to create like a quiet space inside, and a feeling of the energy of the room is different when you do that. Yeah.
when you teach and when you are in places that are not your own place,
Mhm.
totally.
Yeah, okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know, I bring my staff to clear the energy. I might bring a drum or any tool for music and clear the energy. Yes, yes, you need because first of all, it was others' energy. You want to bring your own energy. So tuning into the place is very important. And tuning yourself to the place also because when you teach, you need the class, like the walls and everything to work with you.
Mhm.
So it is, so yeah, I do agree. When I teach, I'm tuning in. But for clients on a daily basis, I don't tune in. I do when I finish a session and they are going, I do like clear the energy, clean the energy. So their energy will go with them back and not stay in the clinic with me.
Ooh, that's a good thing. Maybe I need to do that. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'll give.
important.
So I do two things. I do, it's not constellation. I have a Oponopono water. I don't know if you know what it is, but like blue waters
Mhm.
or blue bottles, not plastic, that you put on in the window for the sun for 15 minutes. And then the water in the blue bottle are purine waters. So like I put it in a small bottle and I spray it everywhere, and it's cleaning the energy. And every end of the week, like I work on Friday noon, something like that. Before I'm closing my clinic, I just go sage everything.
And it's when you become very sensitive, and I feel like the more you do this work or in the field, you become very sensitive to energies. And I notice I could do sage, and it's like the whole room opens up, and I feel brighter or more energized for sure. So I don't know if I think maybe at the beginning of my journey, it wasn't so prominent. Like it didn't feel like this big shift, but the more sensitive I got to the space, the more I could feel the impact of it in the space. So was it like
Wow.
that for you as well? Where you didn't feel the difference and now you do, or do you still not feel a difference?
I still not feel the difference, but also I'm doing this practice for 20 years. Um, I will say that in the last years, because I'm very sensitive, but with for I was the way I was raised, I wasn't aligned with my sensitivity. And one of the practice, one of my teachers, a shamanic teacher, taught me a few years ago is whenever clients go out to restore back my energy and to give them their energy, he actually said, whenever you are going from a store, you should do that. Whenever you are going to the street and coming back, you should do that. Start cleaning the energy of people out of you. So I'm not doing that, but whenever clients go, I bring back my energy and I send back their energy and like, you know, keep me as a clean container so
Mhm.
it won't dry me out.
Mhm. Who is the shamanic teacher? I don't think you said his name, or do you know?
Um, yeah, he's in Israel.
Oh,
His name is
okay.
Tomer.
Oh, okay. Is there like a big community in Israel for family constellations?
So Israel is small. So, you know, going to Europe or to the States might, or even India, it might sound small. But I will say it's a growing. We have the Israeli Constellation School, systemic school, which I taught there for 8 years. And they got quite a big community, and it's a growing community. And I think Constellation is still not mainstream, but more and more people are being open to Constellation. And we all thank for the other self in Netflix that so many people have in Israel have Netflix and saw that and then called, I saw this show. I want to come. Great. So it's a growing community, and we are a community. We have like a Facebook page, and we nourish our student.
You said you taught there for 8 years. You don't do any longer? You decided.
So yes, because as I start karmic constellation and family constellation, although the name is relatively similar, they are different languages. Because I don't do all the principle of family constellation, and just I found out that to facilitate both is fun, and I love family constellation, but to teach family constellation is time consuming for karmic constellation. So it's like there are times in our life that although constellation teaches that we can do both, there are times in our life that we need to choose. So I facilitate both, but as a teacher, I teach only karmic constellation.
That's beautiful. I think it's important that you chose your own path and what you really were more passionate about teaching. And it's a new path that maybe not anybody else could teach in the way that you could teach. So, because I wouldn't have
Yes.
known those things, I wouldn't have put that one there. So yeah, I think that's really cool. How long has it been since you started teaching karmic constellations?
So I started a little bit before COVID. So it's 2018 and 19. And I was like in person. And I think something like in 2021, I started teaching it on Zoom. I actually have like between 2 or 3 trainings a year online, in English, of course. So yeah, so I teach a lot karmic constellation, and I love it. It's like, and it's like family constellation, it's a transformative method in a different way. So it's really transformed people's life, which is for me so exciting to hear from a student how their life changed, their perspective has changed. Um, they put it in their family constellation. Many of my students are family constellation facilitators, so they bring it into their field. And yeah, constellations are magic in many ways.
Yeah. So you do one-on-one sessions through Zoom?
I do all. I do one-on-one, and I do with representative. Have you ever done with representative on Zoom?
Oh, so the Pet Constellations is going to be my first class I teach on Zoom. So I mostly have done like in-person ones. So I've done one-on-ones in person, and I've also done group sessions in person. So I'm just about to start venturing out into the online world. So it's about to kind of grow. But no, I haven't done. Well, I've seen somebody, I think her name is Liza Miron. She's from Spain or something like that.
Mhm.
And she did a Zoom session online. So I've witnessed from her, like I saw one, but for me, it wasn't as powerful. I guess maybe because I might have not been the representative,
Mm.
maybe just because I was the observer. Um, yeah. So I'm kind of learning as I go teaching on Zoom. So no,
Yeah.
I haven't like done it for people on Zoom.
Observing on Zoom, it's hard
Yeah.
because yeah, it's hard. It's really different than observing when you are in the field, like in person.
Right.
Um, so I can understand why it was not so interesting. Also, when I go to a group work on Zoom, I try to be one of the representatives in order that it will be interesting. So I
Yeah.
really relate to that.
Maybe
Yeah, I
the
do on Zoom all like not in person, but one-on-one or group constellation and workshop and trainings. As I told you, I practically live on Zoom.
So if people are interested in joining you, how would they go about that?
So, um, um, okay, so I have my email, which is Eini Yael. It's different than it's written here. It's EINIYAEL at gmail.com. And I actually have a group, a WhatsApp group of representatives. So whenever I have a session, I just give the details of the session, give the Zoom link, and whoever wants to join, and it's good by the time zone, people are more than welcome to participate. I sometimes have 5 people, and sometimes I have 20 people, and it's okay. Um, so one can come and represent. I always like people to come, and representing is free. Um, and yeah, and there is my website, which is yaeleini.com, and all the info about the workshops and the classes, the training, the book. I have a huge blog on it, so everything that I do is practically there. And like we met on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah. No, I want to be put on this WhatsApp group. So, yeah, so maybe after this call, you'll let me know. Would it be like for people who want to be on the WhatsApp group that are watching this, they would email that email you said, or how would they be placed on?
Unless you have a way to put my phone in like in the bio or something like that.
Do that if you would like. I'm just I don't know if there's like scammers that could get your number. Do you know what I mean? Kind of want
Oh,
the real people who really want to learn,
so
you know.
send me an email. Yeah.
Okay.
So people can send me an email. I want to join to the representative WhatsApp group. It's a silent WhatsApp group. It's like only when I have a session and I need reps, I advertise there. Yeah, and I'll send the link for the group.
Okay, awesome. I want to be on that one.
Great.
Yeah,
You're
well,
more than welcome.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, because for sure, this is a new kind of path, and I'm all about my moon is in Aquarius. I think that could be what it is. I'm always on the next frontier of like, what's the new thing, you know? So, and that's just how I've lived in my life. Like that's what my spiritual journey was like. It's like find the next thing, find the next thing, meet the next person, and never stop learning or growing from there. So that's really maybe like my soul's journey. It's just to keep evolving. And I always like if I feel stuck in a job, I can't stay. Like my soul will feel like I'm in jail if I don't move forward in where I'm feeling called. Yeah.
I'm not Aquarius, but I resonate with that so fully. Like when I was employee, I was like after half a year, I was like, I want to move. Okay, I
Want
got
out.
the drill. I understand how it works. Next. And yeah, so I'm 20 years self-employed, so I don't have this problem anymore, but I always grow and continue and learning. And for me, what are the things that I really like? So my lab are a place of learning. So it's like because I come to the lab with not knowing anything. Like I have this idea, let's say the pet and the soul, but I have no idea. I don't know if there is a heaven to pet. Uh, do they have soul? Do we have soul agreement with them? Does pet have soul lessons? Like I have no idea. So those lab are like it's a place to learn. Everyone comes and learn. It's like that. It's not like I'm coming and I'm going to teach you. It's like we are both coming, not knowing,
Mm.
have all kinds of assumptions, and then we see whether we were right with our assumptions or wrong. Can we represent? Maybe we can't represent. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a cat soul can't be represented. I don't know. I have no idea. But it's like, it's like I'm exploring and you're exploring with me. So this is one of the way that I found out, instead of going outside to learn, to keep on learning and develop. And funny thing that happened, that when I started teaching karmic constellation, it was 8 classes, and today it's 16. Because whenever I learn something new in the lab, something that you can apply in constellation, I just bring it to my student to learn about it, because I'm not supposed to have the information to myself.
Mhm. I love
So
it. Yeah, it's like your work is evolving, just as I was
yes,
saying. It's like, yeah, your soul's work, and you will always keep growing and adding on to it. I love that.
yeah. And both of us we are curious persons, so there is always something new to learn about.
Yeah, so I will be there one of these days. I will be one of the representatives, hopefully.
You are more than welcome. Yeah, we need to fix
Awesome.
the time zone,
Oh
but yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, I know it's close to time, so I want to give you a few minutes to maybe share whatever you'd like to share for our last few minutes with people who are watching, who may be interested in family constellations, or maybe they're looking to this work to answer like some kind of question in their life or hardship they're going through. So anything that you'd like to share with people watching here, or you feel called to share.
I think one of the magic of constellation, all constellation, is that many of us struggle with all kinds of patterns that are not benefits our life, and are going to all kinds of therapists and maybe channelers, and nothing shifts. And I think the magic of constellation, and I also say that as a channeler myself, it that it always shows something in our life that we never thought about it. Like it brings this whole new perspective of things. And for me, the way I see, like, if the calling is, if you're stuck in your life, I would say it's not me, it's Mark said it didn't start with you. And also didn't start with your childhood or your parents. And when you come to a constellation sessions, you'll find out um, you can really many times pinpoint the lineage that it belonged to, and then you can release it out of your system. And I will say, for people that never experience karmic or family constellation, it's a weird method. It is representing is weird, and yet it's one of the powerful methods I have ever encountered in my life. And I know lots of methods. I have learned a lot, like you. So if you feel stuck, I would go. And also, a constellation sessions for most facilitator is a one-time session. I don't know how you do it, but I am in that way. I'm quite a Bert Hellinger traditional therapist. It's a one session. It's not a therapeutic session, and it really do shifts in our life, like a big healing. Mainly the way I see it in relationship, whether with others or third issues we have in our life.
Mhm. Well, to answer kind of my view on that about how many, I always say, I guess it depends how many things you want to work on because one session you could work on money and one session you could work on relationships. But we always recommend to give it time if you work on money, not to work on money for maybe a month to 3 months and allow
Yes.
the energy to kind of sink in. And it depends how deeply rooted these subconscious beliefs are, or how tied we are to the family system. So every issue is different. Some things that are maybe not as deeply ingrained, then yes, could be a life shift that never has to be visited again. And but yeah, I don't say definitively only one every single time, you know what I mean? So I guess it depends on the life and for myself, is if you're wanting to be a facilitator, then absolutely you'll need a lot more experience in the field and doing your own
Yes.
thing, right? Yeah.
If you want to be facilitator, the best way, this is how have been taught, and I agree with that. The best way to be facilitator is actually to be a representative,
Mm-hmm.
not by being a client. You become it's like a wider tool, a better tool, and most understanding when you represent. I was like in family constellation, we don't say sorry or I'm asked for your forgiveness. We are not asking for forgiveness, especially not parents from their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been taught that, like, I was taught like that, and I feel in my heart that it was right. And then one day I represent, and I was the son, and there was the mom telling me, like, please forgive me. And I was like, I was
The
so pissed
burden.
off of her.
Yeah.
And, then I truly understood what I was taught of. So representing makes us a better facilitators. And I always say that one of the big sadness of being a teacher is you hardly represent. So once in a while, I go register to a training or go to represent with one of my colleagues in Israel, just to be in that field, because the field of representing, it's a healing field, and also you grow as a container.
Beautiful. That's good guidance for sure. Because you want to be able to see all aspects and yeah, see things in different ways and know what it's like to be as a representative too. And for sure, I really agree with that. I think I might have talked about this with another facilitator, but it happened in one of the last ones that I facilitated, where a mother was saying, I'm sorry or forgive me to the child, and I kind of helped everybody in the room to understand why we don't say I'm sorry to the child. Because yeah, you're putting the burden on the child to have to forgive you. And so they're in the place of the parent versus taking in life from the child. And it's not a judgment towards the mother that was saying sorry, because what I felt in the moment was right to say was uh like almost like I take responsibility. And
Yes.
and in that then the child is freed of having to carry this or to help you in some way. So and I felt that too as a representative, how much freedom that gives. It's almost like this weight that just jumps right off of your back.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
There is so much, like, when you take responsibility, it frees everyone regarding the issue.
Yeah. And the other words was also like, it's not yours to carry. That's
Yeah,
too. So yeah. And what were you
yeah.
gonna say?
No, I'm like, I do say sometimes I'm sorry like, I'm sorry of causing you pain, but it's not, please forgive me.
Mm,
And like my youngest, I would tell him I'm sorry, and he was like, I don't forgive you. And I said, like, okay, I'm not saying it for you to forgive me. It's okay if you won't forgive me. It's not the issue of forgiveness. And I think this is one of the miracles in Constellation, because forgiving is when, if you're my mom and I forgive you, I'm superior to you.
mm,
And the balance and the hierarchy are destroyed. But when you take responsibility, I can start and I can become a child again.
mm,
So responsibility is crucial. I love the act of taking responsibility and owning it instead of, yeah, being a victim.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, beautiful. So, any last words here? I think this is a good little ending, very powerful ending here.
Take responsibility. Go to Constellation, take responsibility on your
Yes.
lives.
On your own healing journey. Yeah,
On your,
without
yeah,
needing the world to change. We came back all the way around to that. I think that was what the field really wanted us to share here with people. I really think that's what this is. It's like the field wanting to share in a different way with all these facilitators. Because I actually have a few episodes that I haven't edited yet. And one of them was like with Dan Cohen, and one is
mm,
with Zita Toyakayo. And it's just beautiful because I get to see, and you as well, I get to see specifically what you bring to the table and like what the field wants you to express to the people who are watching specifically. So it's a
yeah.
really cool little experience I'm having getting to like take in all of your guys' gifts from your lives, whether it's like you've been doing this for 20 years or Dan's been doing this so much everywhere.
Yeah, you said Dan and Zita and I, it's like, wow, three different facilitators
Yeah.
that really have, I don't know how different perspective, but the way we approach it, it's really different.
Yeah, because like different cultural backgrounds. But like what Zita, like her episode was really focused in on like racism and the things that
Yes.
she loves to work on. And so I love that because they are real things in this world that maybe people have questions about. So I really feel like this is being built out of the questions people have about this work to kind of give a little more uh I don't know, healing from whatever they're taking in as they watch. So thank you for
Yeah,
being part of that.
you're
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for inviting me to do that.
Yeah. I'm so happy you joined in. So cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be reaching out to you so that way I can get your WhatsApp group and hopefully reconnect with you in some way. I feel very connected to every facilitator I work with here. So yeah, I think it would be awesome to kind of see you work next. And then
Yeah.
keep
I'll send you by email my WhatsApp because we
okay.
already have the email, our emails.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll let you go because I know it's a little bit late for you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you again so much for tuning in here and sharing your knowledge and wisdom.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
with,
It was a wonderful conversation. I liked it.
yeah, it was really beautiful. Can you share before we leave, what are your websites that people can reach you? And then also where can people buy the pre-sale for the book?
Okay. So my website is Yael Eini, YaelEini.com. Very easy. And actually, the books on pre-sales are on everyone, Amazon and all the online bookstores. I don't even know their names. And also, so I have a traditional publisher, so one can go into Inner Tradition, which is the publisher, and buy there then. Um, the book will actually also be, it will take a little bit time, but it's supposed to be in all the bookstores in all the English speakers countries. So it's going to be in Australia and India and the UK and Canada and the States, of course. Pre-release is until April 8th, like in a month. I'm very excited regarding that.
So exciting. I didn't know this was all happening. How cool. I'll be walking in the store and I'll be like, oh my gosh, there's Yael.
Yeah, or you can
How cool.
ask them to bring it. Yes, yes. In the spiritual or yeah, I never know if they'll put it like spiritual and religious in some way goes together, although they don't really go together.
Or maybe
But
like the wellness area, health,
oh,
mental wellness or something. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, you know what? If you go to a bookstore after probably late April, because I think it takes time between when it's on Amazon release and in the bookstores. But if you go and you see the book, take a picture and send me.
I will do that when I see it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Beautiful. I'll make
Um,
sure that this episode comes out soon so that way it happens before your book comes out so people can know about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And let me know so I'll advertise with you. You know, I have quite a big email list and Facebook, and I saw you're on Instagram, so I'll put it also on Instagram. So just yeah, let me know and I'll post it with you.
Awesome. Yeah, I will send you before I put the video out, I'll send you all of the short clips and
Yeah.
the thumbnails and everything. So you'll have all the information there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Yael.
Thank you.
And yeah, I look forward to staying connected with you and watching you grow. And now that I get to see the beginning of that new growth, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Great.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Great. I'll
Good
send
night.
you everything on the email. Thank
Okay.
you.
Have a good night.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.